One of my very first bike ride I did with Nino, 2003 it was. At that time, there was no one that could follow me on my home trails. He was the age of 17, and on the first descent, he hangs on my wheel. And I go like, not bad. The second descent, I go a little bit harder, no problem following my wheel. Damn, this guy is good. Third descent we did, I went all out. All out. And at the bottom of the descent, he was still there. And from that moment, I knew Nino is a special guy. He rides at the absolute limit over all these years.
He's got nothing left to prove.
He has been dominating the sport for 10 years.
Where do you stop? Are the reasons big enough to quit? Better don't start to quit.
When you go for a ride with Nino, you always sit on a bench, take your time, having a good rest.
It's on the way to the retirement, you know. The first step is the e-bike, then the range extender.
So what's the next World Cup on the calendar?
Now in 3 weeks' time is Nové Město. Like one of my favorite tracks.
Looking forward to that.
It's a nice course.
And it's always on your birthday, isn't it?
The past 10 years I had 7 times birthday in Nové Město. But this year it's a week after, so I have finally once again birthday back home. Already feeling old.
I want to win a World Cup this year. I want to prove that I can still win. Nové Město would be a good one. If you win in Nové Město, for sure you're part of a good crew. I had the most success, I think, in Nové Město. It's a track I really enjoy.
Looks quite smooth, this one here.
It's the last race of the Olympic qualification. They will give some extra motivations, pressure, excitement.
Everyone really wants to take their game to the next level leading into the Olympics.
Mountain biking is the second most viewed sport at the Olympic Games for Switzerland. It's huge. It's only 2 spots, and it's still quite open.
So yeah, there's a few really strong riders just for those 2 spots. First of all, you need to qualify, but you also need to make sure you didn't burn yourself just in qualifying.
What about if Matthew or Tom turned up? Did they burn you out?
The ones that keep me pushing the hardest.
No one's ever been able to come in and whoop the world's best mountain bikers, right? And now all of a sudden, there's 2 that can do it. Tom Pidcock is going to end a drought since a British rider last won an Elite World Cup. Van der Poel has ridden away from the Olympic champion. Believe the hype!
Pidcock, Van der Poel, when they turn up to win.
Pidcock is, at the moment, is the mountain biker to beat.
I'm Tom Pidcock and I race bikes. Normally not mountain bikes.
This omni cyclist who can do everything, that can go and win the Tour de France, can win classics, Paris-Roubaix, you name it.
7 world titles, cyclocross and mountain bike, time trial when I was a junior. Current Olympic world champion on mountain bike, Tour de France stage winner. Undefeated here in Nové Město.
It must be so difficult for Nino to have to deal with that.
But they're not scaring me. They're just pushing me. I never had the dream as a kid to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a vet. I really loved animals. We had sheep at home and stuff like. So at the beginning, I wanted to get a vet. I got actually slowly into it. Me and my brother took part in a race close by. We were quite successful from the beginning. We both won in our category, and we're like, oh, that's quite cool. I decided there to go to a Best of Sports school where I have a bit more time, and this was probably a key moment. I remember Thomas Frischknecht came there to give some autographs and stuff.
I was one of the best cross-country pros at the time.
I had no clue who it is. And the other kids, they were much more excited. He is actually a professional mountain biker. It can be a job. It was probably one of the first moments where okay, maybe.
He impressed me from the very first moment. He was a hopeful young talent, but we've seen it often that young talents kind of lose focus and don't really develop anymore. was kind of the opposite. He just kept going and set a new standard in the sport. And he kept doing that for 20 years now.
Hello everyone, welcome to the third round of the UCI World Cup.
Today, the last weekend of qualification Olympic.
This is one of the big ones. And they're getting ready to go on their starters orders. And green they go. There's Tom Pidcock through your picture.
I don't know what drives Nino. He must be just unbelievably competitive.
Yeah, I like the competition. It's my job, it's part of me. But it gets harder and harder with not being the youngest anymore.
Nino's ability to, year after year, keep coming back and being, one of the guys to beat even now, that's really impressive.
He's not the youngest anymore, but he's still one of the world's best.
If Nino's at a race, he's the rider they've got to beat.
Here's an attack from Tom Pidcock now. Tom Pidcock round the outside of Victor Koretsky and Nino Schurter.
Yeah,
Schurter doesn't look like he's going to let him have it all his own way. Going bar to bar here with one off the most complete cyclist of all time.
He properly races on the bike, but then he's proper down to earth and genuine off the bike. To be able to make that switch is quite important in sport, to not be an arsehole. But on the race, you're allowed to be a bit of an arsehole.
You should have respect of everybody, but for sure, like the ones you think they're the hardest to beat. And it actually also gives me some extra motivation. It's an extra reason.
Well, Tom Pidcock's got a problem, and it's called Nino Schurter, and it's right on his back wheel.
That's what the fans want to see. Battles.
And Nino knows it's time. He can't wait.
When you race Nino, you need to understand the experience he has.
Nino's
still there, yeah. He didn't drop him.
When I think about mountain biking and I think about this jersey, it just fits on Nino. To be honest, the amount of years he's worn it, he's going to know more ways to win than me.
Pidcock on the move again. This is trouble for Nino Schurter now. He looks over the shoulder, never a good sign.
With having all the experience here on how a race can go, I need to play now different cards.
He allowed himself to be dropped before he blew. He has the experience.
Yeah. If Nino finishes second today,
is that his Olympic ticket?
Final lap for Tom Pidcock. Nino Schurter, the GOAT, the greatest of all times, in second place, and he's matching him.
Every time we doubt Nino, he comes back.
I never rested on the success. I still have the fire in me.
Schurter out of the saddle and attacking this climb. 19 seconds now. It's a big ask.
I think he's going to run out of track, but it's going to be close.
Tom Pidcock heads towards one of his favourite places. 4 in a row for Tom Pidcock in Nové Město. Nino Schurter had to dig deep, but there's still plenty of fight left in the GOAT.
When Pidcock went, tried to stay with him, and then I realized maybe he's maybe a bit too fast, and if I'm staying too long with him, maybe I blew up, and I had like the Olympic qualification also in mind that I just need a safe podium position to surely qualify for Paris. But yeah, more importantly is also to get a good feeling, a good self-confidence, to know that when I'm going there, I also have chances to battle for medals as well there.
Having this tight racing with the younger riders, it keeps you being at your best, yeah. As a professional athlete, it's like all what counts is to be the best if you want to keep doing this job. That's like the big difference in most other jobs. As a vet, you don't need to be the world best to still be a good vet. But for me, I want to be the best in the next race.